On this episode of Star Trek Universe, we are talking about all the crazy SDCC Star Trek news, as well as Strange New Worlds 207, Those Old Scientists, right after these words from our mystery sponsors.
Welcome to Star Trek Universe, the podcast where you get to listen in on two lifelong friends chat about Star Trek in real time. My name's Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
You know, it's visceral.
No. It was confusing. Viscerally confusing.
So here we got lots of news from San Diego Comic-Con. Is that right?
Yeah.
I have intentionally stayed pretty dumb about what, because I knew you said there was a big long list, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to respond to it live. Okay.
Cool.
If I'm being honest, it didn't take much work to remain dumb.
I know. And like I was sitting there like the whole, like, as the day was unfolding, like just like refreshing on Trek movie, like, what next?
Mm-hmm. Well, what we got?
Nothing. No, so Prodigy. Let's talk about Prodigy real quick, because I know I was like not as excited about all of the SDCC news because I knew that like, you know, Prodigy has been ousted. Mm-hmm. But at the San Diego Comic-Con, the Paramount Vice President of Star Trek Brand Development,
okay,
I believe his name is John Van Sitters, said, first and foremost, I don't think we could have a panel celebrating Star Trek animation. By the way, it's the 50th anniversary of Star Trek animation, without addressing kind of the 800-pound rock talk in the room, Star Trek Prodigy. We all know that Prodigy is not currently available on Paramount Plus, but this isn't the end of the story for Prodigy. Season 2 is still in production. The creative team is working hard to finish what is a great storyline, and we're working to find Prodigy a new home. And he said, I personally love Star Trek Prodigy, having known what Hagman's and everyone has been working on for years. This won't be the end of Dal, Gwyn, Rock Talk Zero, and especially not Murph. As you know, he is indestructible. They're still part of Star Trek. They are part of the canon. They always will be. Star Trek and its fans are always full of surprises. This is a universe that is filled with hope and possibility, and the crew members of the Protostar are absolutely perfect examples of that. This will not be the end of that crew, which made me feel good because it made me feel like, you know, the people in charge of Star Trek care about this, and that this was just a Paramount Plus bullshit move.
Yeah.
That they didn't have control over. That's what it feels like.
I know we talked about this a few weeks ago, and I know you said they were not renewing it on, that Paramount Plus wasn't renewing it. I don't think I realized they took it off the streaming service.
They did.
That's terrible. That is so dumb. It pisses me off. And I knew, I knew they weren't renewing it for a new season, but I didn't know that. That's terrible. Ugh. So dumb. This whole streaming, we over on Multiverse News, we call them the merge purges because, yet another merge purge, because these services keep having mergers with other companies, and I guess for whatever reason, there's not enough room for all of the content, and they both start just sloughing off content left and right, and it really, really annoys the crap out of me. I'm like, it's just a money decision, I know, and it's always just a money decision, but it just feels like they're, like, either the deals were structured poorly, because it's like, either something is valuable enough that it's going to get eyeballs and you're going to have to pay out, royalties and such, or it's like not going to be valuable enough. You know what I mean? Like, and people aren't going to watch it anyway. Either way, I just don't see it's not like it costs them a lot of money to keep it on the server or whatever. I don't know. It's some sort of badly structured deals or something. I don't know. I just really think it's all stupid.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, I don't want to, speak out of turn because I don't know. I don't know how much it costs to keep it on the servers. I don't know, if this was how calculated this was, because we know they did a merger with Showtime. That's what Paramount Plus just did, and everything got restructured. And it seems like they're taking a tax write-off on season 2, and from what we've heard, and that they are shopping it around, trying to get someone else to license it, which would mean making them money off of it, which means that most probably Prodigy didn't make as much money as they wanted it to for the amount of that it cost. Right. And they are trying to get someone else to like horn in with them and and get some of that sweet licensing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like if it went somewhere else and then they did like a season or two, Paramount Plus would retain the rights to keep it, obviously on their network. And, if they wound up canceling it, and, it's all, pushing money around.
Yeah. It just annoys me because it feels like they're just intentionally withholding stuff from the fans that like paid to make the stuff happen in the first place and are still paying their services.
So, episodes 11 through 20 of season 1 have been released digitally already, and they are also coming to Blu-ray and DVD on September 27th. They're available for pre-order at Amazon right now. The Blu-ray is priced at $21.99 if you're in the States. DVD at $17.99. I suggest going and getting it as soon as possible. Just to prove that this thing is worth the money.
Yeah, do it.
We got a trailer for Lower Decks Season 4. Have you seen this thing?
Yeah, man, I did see it. I really, it looks great.
It does. I think the hardest I laughed was when the bit about finishing their equations and they were both just like stomping their feet from under the shuttlecraft, like giggling.
Yeah.
I loved that.
I think the hardest I laughed was the two dudes doing the stretching in the like Troy.
Oh my god, and, the Beverly and Troy
outfits from Next Generation. It's just so funny. The show gets this like weird ability to embrace the fact that it's just being meta about things that fans like. It's not even necessarily like the depth of Star Trek, they don't have to worry about the like, are we making the universe too small? Like, no, they just like reference a thing that is only known to us because it's like a weird internet culture thing that is like, whatever. I just think that's so funny.
Yep. And it, by the way, it starts September 7th. New episodes.
Great. So, that's not too far away.
It's not. I'm really excited about it. I love Lower Decks. They also came out with an official synopsis. It says, in Season 4 of Star Trek Lower Decks, an unknown force is destroying starships and threatening galactic peace. Luckily, the crew of the USS Cerritos isn't important enough for stuff like that. Instead, Ensigns Mariner, Boimler, Tendi, Rutherford, and Provisional Ensign T'Lyn are keeping up with their Starfleet duties, avoiding malevolent computers and getting stuck in a couple caves. All while encountering new and classic aliens along the way. And of course, they've aped the Star Trek 4 poster.
Yeah.
Like they did with Star Trek 3.
Yep.
Last year. I thought this looked great, and I want to know what the evil threat destroying everybody is.
Yeah, and I guess it looked familiar to me, like the spaceship, but I don't know where or like you know what it kind of looks like, the freaking ship from like Mandalorian, but I know obviously that's not it. It doesn't look that much like that, but like the way it flies, like the shape of it.
Yeah, if any show could.
Yeah, if any show could bring the Mandalorian into it. They mention evil computers in there. Obviously, maybe we'll get Jeffrey Combs back.
Oh, I assume.
Or Peanut Hamper, or a combination of the two.
I'm sure that one too. I love that Mariner brought up the Pike incident that they're not supposed to talk about.
Yeah, that's really funny, especially since we literally got it. Basically, that episode dropped the same time that this news was dropping. It's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. And I really hope that we get some sort of like. Basically, I want the people from Temporal Investigations to show up on Lower Decks and be like, I want there to be like issues or something that they have to deal with because of their trip back to those old scientist days.
Yeah, that would be really, really interesting. It would at least be a nice nod if they, like, when they get back, they're having to, like, have a meeting with that same lady or something.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really cool.
All right, so there are animated promos that are coming, and it was to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the animated series. And I'm not sure what these exactly are, but CBS Studios is creating 5 animated promotional spots in the animated series style. And it's going to have, quote, fan favorite characters voiced by cast members from across Star Trek universe, including Jonathan Frakes as Will Riker, Doug Jones as Saru, and Armin Shimmerman as Quark. And I've included in our document the pictures they included, which I love.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It totally looks like the old animated series.
Yeah, for sure, man. The fact that they got Armin Shimmerman to come back as Quark here, and I just want more Quark.
Oh yeah, obviously, always.
Yeah,
it's really starting to feel like Jonathan Frakes is just like the real prize behind all new Trek.
Well, it feels like Jonathan Frakes got a weird, because he directed so many, beloved episodes and movies and stuff. It's like he got this weird status as, like, not only is he, the first officer, but he's like a behind the scenes guy and a well-known guy from behind the scenes. So they, like, give him a lot of stuff now, and it's like he's kind of become like a big driving force behind the creative, it seems, and that's really funny.
Yeah. And I love that because he's also time and again proven himself to be like a stalwart champion of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like, he loves it as much as we do, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think it's true. Yeah. I think it's super rad.
These spots, these animated celebration spots, will debut later this year. And they come from Casper Kelly, who was known for the viral smash hit Too Many Cooks. And
Weird.
He also worked on Star Trek Short Tracks, and he worked with Adult Swim. I don't know most of that, so.
Huh. That's weird. Do you know Too Many Cooks?
I don't. I've never heard of it.
Oh gosh,
until now.
It's a weird thing. I can't even really describe it without ruining it. Go watch Too Many Cooks. It's a weird, just like YouTube video from like the, I don't know, mid 2000s.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
On to Strange New Worlds. We got a teaser. Did you see this musical episode teaser?
Yes, I did. How do you feel about the musical episode coming?
Oh, I'm fine with it.
I'm happy about it. I feel like, and we'll talk about this. I should save this for when we talk about Lower Decks episode, the Lower Decks crossover episode. But something I'm realizing about Strange New Worlds is, yes, they're going to tell some more serious stories here and there, hopefully, and they have. But like, they are not afraid to just be like silly as hell. And like embracing it. It feels like a lot of older Star Trek was silly at times, but when it was silly, it was sort of like relegated as like, oh, this is one of those worst things they've ever done,
Unless you're talking about like Trouble with Tribbles, which was like very intentionally whimsical.
Yeah. There's a weird line between the whimsical and like stuff from the 60s that doesn't hit, or even the stuff from the 90s that like, this episode is weird and it just doesn't really like for some reason it doesn't hit. And I wonder if some of these sillier episodes from Strange New Worlds won't age as well, because that seems like maybe the thing. Like some of those things from the original series and TNG just didn't age as well. But some of the stuff, like from that Alan Moraine episode that they reference in the Lower Decks trailer, which is great.
Dude,
Am I in the game?
I howled with that.
So
and
good.
He looked so annoyed when she was like, Alan Moraine. Oh my God.
Yep. It's really, really great.
Bethany and I reference that all the time.
Yep. It's really good. But so, like that's an episode that's like kind of like, but it has this like beloved following. It's like, that's a weird and kind of kitschy episode. I don't know. I've been impressed with how Strange New Worlds has been able to walk the line. And the thing that I noticed most when I watched this crossover that we're about to talk about in a few minutes was the fact that like the tones just aren't that different. Like when they bring in the Lower Decks crew and they're having them run around and do their thing, I'm like, this feels like Lower Decks, but it doesn't not feel like Strange New Worlds. Like one's animation, one's live action, and one goes further with the jokes, but like there's not such a difference that they couldn't mesh those two tones. And I found that really interesting.
They brought over one of the writers, and the person who wrote the crossover was a writer on Lower Decks. So she's a master of both worlds.
Neat.
And then they also had Mike McMahon like supervising and stuff.
Did a really good job.
We didn't get a lot of a tease for Subspace Rhapsody, which is the name of the musical episode of Strange New Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving this old school looking poster.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of some musicals in genre drama. Like I love Once More with Feeling and Buffy.
Yep.
Didn't really love it in Scrubs as much.
Yeah, same.
Downright hated that 70s show musical episode. Like I feel like there came a time where like everybody was doing a musical episode. And I don't dislike musicals at all.
Right.
But my favorite movie is a musical.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like I have faith enough at this point with whatever they're doing.
Yeah, same.
They've earned it.
I think they know what they are, and they're going to do a good job with what they're doing. And like, I think this show, because of its like kitschy, fun nature, is going to be a good place for the tone does not feel far off from Buffy, and like that sort of thing. Which Buffy is, again, that's my favorite musical that fits into a universe like this. So I'm down, man. I'm excited.
And by the way, I think I really, for years I said Star Trek became too sterile.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
I wanted them to get back to a little bit of the fun and whimsy of the original series, and I do think Strange New Worlds has really done that very, very well overall.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. And it's funny when we talk about how sterile it is. A lot of times I feel like what we're talking about is like the morality questions, and they're like how gritty it can be. Like we often talk about Pale Moonlight as this episode that's like, that was when Star Trek wasn't so sterile and they're really doing cool stuff,
Well, that's why DS9 was not a big favorite among fans at the time, because they were big fans of TNG. They were big fans of Voyager.
They liked that moral purity. But what I kind of saying is like, that moral purity is one kind of sterility, but like this other kind is this sort of stodginess that the show has developed, especially during TNG. And I think this is just so silly and fun. And, it used to like kind of like have a little bit of fun. TNG has fun episodes for sure, but a lot of times it seems like it's sort of relegated to a couple of characters. Like, oh, look, Data's a silly robot, stuff like that. There's those moments, but like Worf's silly for this reason, whatever. But the entire show being like just having a sense of humor is something I feel like we haven't had in a while, and I love it.
Well, I think a lot of that was because of Roddenberry's around TNG's era. He decided like there's not going to be any conflict between Federation or Starfleet crew members, and then they just like didn't know how to quite honor Gene after he died, other than just keep hashing that.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though. That's kind of what we always talk about, is this idea that, like, no conflict, the morality thing, like, all that stuff. But the fact that it's just letting it be silly is, like, a different way that I didn't know I was hungry for. And I think I'm...
Yeah.
And it's a thing that my brain bristles at a little bit, as we talked about a few episodes ago with Spock being human. Like, that episode really... I was like, do I like this? I don't know. Like, it's so silly. Like, I kept questioning it. Like, my brain was having a really hard time enjoying it, and I'm just trying to let that go and like enjoy myself. And yeah. So if you're interested,
Subspace Rhapsody, the soundtrack, is available on all digital music streaming platforms. And it's 10 original songs plus a Subspace Rhapsody version of the series' main title, which sounds fun. And it's music and lyrics by Kay Hanley, who did Letters to Cleo, and Tom Pulsey, who did Letters to Cleo and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I am excited about that because I love Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. That show was fantastic.
I've heard good things, but I never saw it myself.
Oh, just dive into it. And as we talked about earlier, we are going to get a new episode July 27th because they did drop Those Old Scientists a few days early on a Saturday. Now they're dropping Under the Cloak of War, which is apparently going to be like super serious Gorn shit. That's coming out July 27th. Subspace Rhapsody is coming out August 3rd. And the season finale is coming out August 10th. That's what we got, man.
Season finale being called Hegemony is a really interesting thing to me. I don't know what that will mean, because that's one of the big things that Starfleet is sort of criticized for, is this sort of oppressive nature of its culture and taking over everywhere. And I wonder if that's going to be an episode that questions that, or if that's going to be an episode that's just like about some other race, and because they don't look inward enough. But that's not been the case lately. Lately they've been looking inward a lot. So I have a feeling that might be a really interesting episode.
Yeah, I do wonder if that's how they're going to resolve this Gorn conflict, if they realize they're actually the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because that's what we did the last time with the Gorn, is like they were encroaching upon their territory.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Well, that makes sense with makes sense with Under the Cloak of War, then Subspace Rhapsody, then Hegemony being like a three episode run that will be about those things. Can't believe we only have 3 episodes left. One of them being tonight. Like that means we have 2 weeks left of this show. It's crazy.
I know. It went by so quick at warp speed, some might say.
Yes, indeed.
I'm super happy because Strange New Worlds ranked on the streaming charts. And they did it 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, wow.
And Picard did it 2 or 3 times. But that was the first time Star Trek had ranked on the streaming chart since it began anew. Mm-hmm. And now we've got Strange New Worlds hitting 2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
Feels like Star Trek's starting to see a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah. I think so. That's really, really cool. And those 2 weeks don't feel like weeks. I mean, I think the crossover episode was pretty exciting for a lot of people. But what was the?
I don't even think we've seen that one yet.
Oh, that's not in this list? The 2?
I do not believe so. No.
Wow. I feel like that's even going to be bigger. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. So which 2 episodes is that? The Spock being a human episode and the.
It just says it included the release of the 2nd episode Ad Astra per Aspera. And I didn't look at this chart. So.
Oh, okay. So we're talking like the beginning of the season, it was hitting the charts.
Yeah, it's just like those numbers are coming in now.
Yeah.
So
cool.
It was the week for June 19th through the 25th. Oh, well, so June.
Cool. Very, very cool. That's really exciting.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm proud of my little franchise that could, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's in the top 10 or something. What did it say? Or just the top
10s on the streaming charts. It came in at number 8. The last one did, and then the week before that, it was number 7. Just what we've seen so far. So I don't know what like last week's was.
7 of how many?
10.
Well, that's not very Star Trek-y. All right. What else we got?
I probably should have put this in the lower deck section, but they are doing, they're going to do theatrical screenings for Lower Decks. And I don't know which episodes, but John Van Sitters said that we're very excited about the opportunity to put Lower Decks up on the big screen for fans to experience as cartoons are meant to be, on a 70-foot screen, luminescent. It's going to be great. So they're planning that, and they're going to have more details on Star Trek Day. That's September 8th.
Dude, I will absolutely drive for that. I think there was a card episode we talked about driving to go see on the big screen, and it was in Atlanta. This I would drive for because, like, seeing getting to laugh along with a bunch of Star Trek fans sounds really fun.
It does sound fun. I'm not sure I'll be able to do it, but we'll see when the time comes.
Keep me abreast of the situation. I'm 100% into driving for that. And me and you, okay. I like just riding around with you and chatting. So, like, me and you could have a...
Yeah.
We could record, like, 7 episodes of this podcast on the way.
Just our poor listeners.
Just like just record a 7-hour drive. Like... Sorry.
No, we should. I'm down. And like make ourselves only talk about Star Trek the entire time.
We can't diverge. Like we don't even make it through an entire episode of this without talking about like whatever Marvel or Buffy or DC. For like 7 hours, nothing but Star Trek. Here we go.
There's like our throats are like shredded and bleeding.
We'll get somebody else to drive. We'll do like commentary tracks.
Oh God!
In the back,
this is sounding worse and worse to me.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. I like it.
Yeah. Did you watch the season 5 Discovery sneak peek clip?
Well, I just did, and woof, man. It's it's very, very action oriented. I feel like I was watching Iron Man.
I know, man.
Maybe I'll understand more of the context once we get there of what's going on. It felt very much like that, like just action heavy Marvel-y tone, like the quippy jokes she's making and stuff. Like I have a saxophone lesson and stuff like that. Like this is not how I expected my day to go. Like it feels a little like they're like a very drastic shift in tone for the show, I feel like.
See, I didn't feel like it was a drastic shift in tone at all. Like, it felt to me like that's Discovery. Like, they're all, like, Michael's always doing stuff like this. And it's one of the things I like about Discovery in a lot of ways, because I don't feel like any other show really does it to that extreme.
Oh, for sure. Well, I hear you, but I don't think this show's ever done it to this extreme. I can't think of another, like... This is like a straight up superhero shit, when she's like, I know in like the very first episode she flies in one of those things, but it was just so acrobatic and like, it just felt like to another level to me, from what we've seen in the past. I'm not saying it doesn't have these moments, but like, yeah, this feels like they're really taking a swing with this, releasing this clip to be like, yeah, come back. This is gonna be a really crazy, fun, and wild action series.
Yeah, now, I mean, I don't have the episodes memorized because it's a newer show. But, I mean, I know there were several episodes, at least, where she and, like, Michelle Yeoh, I can't remember her name for some reason, would, like, get into those, like, those space suits and fly around debris and all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of stuff with, like, Book running around with his ship, and...
There's definitely moments like that.
Yeah.
The outside the ship stuff has been very minimal. And this, like, she was, like, riding the back of a ship. That just is, like, while I was at Warp. I don't know that we've ever seen that to that extreme. I'm not saying there's not a lot of action in the show, because there is, but it's not nearly as actiony as this... preview would make me believe. If I'd never seen the show before, I'd be like, what is this? This is crazy. It's really wild. A wild preview or whatever.
And it's funny because like this clip came out and like, you know, all the usual suspects were complaining about Michael Burnham being a superhero and like how unrealistic it is. She's riding a ship at warp. But that's what the warp bubble is for, because the warp bubble is traveling. The ship is in stable space time. Like she's got the gravity boots on. She's inside of the warp bubble.
Yeah,
she's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It's just especially when it starts and she's like dodging debris and swinging in there. It's very, very superhero-esque. I'm not even complaining about it. I'm just saying it doesn't feel. It feels like a shift to me. Not that they've never tried for an actiony tone before. They definitely have, but this feels like a bigger swing.
Yeah, it might be. They might be, going big before they go home.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
I love that Kovic is there. I love Cronenberg as Kovic. I want more of his story. Damn it, please.
Mm-hmm.
They did release an official description for the season. The fifth and final season will find Captain Burnham and the crew of the Discovery uncovering a mystery that will send them on an epic adventure across the galaxy to find an ancient power whose very existence has been deliberately hidden for centuries. But there are others on the hunt as well, dangerous foes who are desperate to claim the prize for themselves and will stop at nothing to get it. I like that they're not doing a galaxy-destroying thing. This is more of an Indiana Jones feeling kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever. Let's go MacGuffin.
Yeah. Let's get that MacGuffin.
It sounded dirty when you said it.
What?
Yeah.
I can't help you think I'm sexy, Dave.
No. That's not what that is.
Feels like it is. Okay, and last we got some stuff from about Starfleet Academy.
Yeah. You recall that show was a thing, and Tawny Newsome is in the writer's room on that one.
Oh, interesting.
She is a writer. We announced that forever ago. She was on the Ready Room, and she said, well, first of all credit and thanks goes to my friend and boss, Alex Kurtzman. Because of this crossover, he called, with Strange New Worlds, he called me on the phone after he saw a rough cut, and he said, I can tell you're a writer, send me everything you've written. Because he watched all of our ad-libs and stuff, and he was like, just send me everything you've written. He really invited me in a way that said, I see you because I saw you do this complex thing, which was a mixture of writing and on camera and stuff. And he went, and I bet there's more in there. And I was so grateful because half the time in this business, you're just trying to get people to see you. So he really invited me in a way that very few executives have in my life. So I'm so eternally grateful. And that makes me more excited for Starfleet Academy than I ever have been, just hearing how that came about and also being reminded that Tawny Newsome is in the writer's room.
Yeah,
for this show.
Super cool. That's super cool and really amazing that he saw her and wanted to bring her in like that. I really think that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, well, we can get into our review of those old scientists if you like.
Sure.
'Cause that's it. That's it.
I mean, I said earlier I shouldn't talk about this yet because I feel like I didn't do a good job. I normally either take notes or watch it twice, or at least watch it right before we record. And this one I watched right when it came out, and it's been a busy week, and I just haven't had time to watch it a second time or take notes on it. So I don't have a ton to say except what I said earlier, which is I was really impressed with the merging of tones of these two shows, and there's a really well done, version of this of the time travel story and a version of combining these crews. I really liked it a lot.
I did too.
Yeah. And there's tons of great lines in there. It's just funny from beginning to end. But then also it had a great moment in the elevator with Chapel and really putting extra weight on the Chapel and Spock story that we didn't get a lot of Spock and Chapel in this episode, but it was just enough to be ooh, that that was needed. It was great.
Yeah, I loved how freaked out Boimler was by every time Spock smiled or laughed.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. There's one of them where it really zooms in on him and gives him really highlights him smiling, and it was just the dramatic music as it zooms in on his teeth. It's so funny. Boimler being so freaked out. It's great.
Yeah. But I do, like you said, I love the way his knowledge of the future kind of put this taint on their relationship.
Mm-hmm. For such a silly episode, for it to have such a profound, I can't imagine it's not going to have a profound effect.
I know.
On them. And I have a feeling that even if Chapel gets a song in Rhapsody, she's going to sing about the fact that she knows that she can't be with him forever. This is a great, it's heavy as, Pike knowing that or it's the same kind of heaviness that Pike knows he's going to die, or he's going to get disfigured, and he knows that's his future. And so now he has to live his life according to that. Their relationship now has that same sort of funeral dirge component to it. I don't know.
It does, yeah. And, you know, the whole time we've been watching Strange New Worlds, I just keep saying, like, I love Jenna Bush as Nurse Chapel. I love her. I cannot see how she becomes the Nurse Chapel of the original series. But after they left that turbo lift, and she's just sitting there, like, I saw TOS Chapel for the first time, really. Like, that quiet desperation. And she played it so well. Like, just this hopelessness.
Yeah. It really
was so solid.
So solid. I like it a lot.
She just killed it. Yeah. And, you know, there's so much to be said about how funny this episode was, but, like, you know, the way they talked to Pike and were like, dude, like, there are people who are going to wish they could talk to you when you're gone.
Yeah. Like, you don't only have parties for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about you. It's about the people. The people around you need to celebrate you while you're here. And, like, that moment when Boimler and Mariner realize that he knows, you know, like, it's something that they didn't know. That's not in the historical record. And they're like, oh, you already know. That was intense.
Yeah, and fantastic. And all of the stuff about Mariner basically teaching or telling Uhura, like, dude, no, you're a badass. Like, I look up to you. Like, everybody knows who you are and all the things you do, and, like, helping her to find, like, a way to relax and have fun and not be so, like, stressed out about her work.
Yeah.
All of that was so super important. I mean, TOS Uhura is, I mean, she's singing as Spock is playing his little, like, Vulcan harp shit. I mean, like, she knows how to relax and have fun, so it's nice to see, like, Lower Decks being able to influence these characters in certain ways and push them in ways that we know they are supposed to be or will eventually be.
Yeah, and it's like they know they're supposed to be that way too, because they know them kind of the way we know them. Like, they're fanboys of these characters like we're fanboys of these characters. And it's just really, really great. And I just... I love that when Mariner comes back and she's like, I did it, and, like, she just ruined their whole plan. And then and then I love it that when they finally open it again, you hear Ratindi and Rutherford on the other side, like, we're coming to you. Like, no, don't do it. It's really good. Oh gosh, it's just so much funny stuff in here. I loved it.
By the way, I love that the ancient Nausicaan portal, that after they decrypted it, it just said, this is a time machine. Yeah,
it was really great.
There were so many great moments, you know, the Riker moment, especially considering this episode was directed by Jonathan Frakes, of course. And you have freaking Boimler throwing his leg up over that cell and going, Riker!
It was so good. It was so good that he did it, and he did it in live action too. Like, it'd be one thing if they did it on the cartoon, because it's like kind of a silly action, but for that actor to, like, pull that off in such a silly way to Riker himself onto a saddle was really funny.
I did not think they were going to be able to pull it off, this that I'm about to say, because we talked about it, and we were like, God, I hope we get the chance to see this in live action. The Boimler scream. And he had, like, 3 or 4 really good ones in there.
Yep. He really does. Like, I don't feel like it makes sense because it's literally the actors who play them and everything, but, like, it's just so cool to see. It's so cool to see them in live action acting like themselves, and it makes me feel like they could drop in on any of the shows, you know, like the Legacy is probably right around the same time. Like, it's not that far off. They could easily jump over and be on Legacy or whatever. It could be a blast.
Yeah, I love that line where they were like, have you noticed how everyone in this time talks so quietly?
Yeah.
Or something. Or so slowly, and the other one was like, yeah, and quietly.
Yeah. It's really good.
I just adored this episode so much. Like, holy Q! Don't be bringing him up. They don't know him. They do know Trelane, though.
Yeah. What's that other line? He's like, by Worf's honor, or something like that.
Oh, damn it. Yeah.
Really
great. Yeah, this is a perfect episode for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have no notes. This is gorgeous, beautiful episode.
I'm finding myself feeling that way more and more with Strange New Worlds. Like, my notes are for myself. Like, they're not for the show. Like, when I don't enjoy something, it's like, no, I'm just being too stodgy. I'm caring too much about oh gosh, sorry. I'm watching in the background as we talk, and I just saw the part where Boimler runs away from Una in that that speed walk way that he walks when he's like nervous on the cartoon. Yep. And the fact that he did that, he's just so good at playing Boimler in live action. Like, it's so good and weird.
Yeah. Oh my God. How much did you love that they got to have that little note to Una about how the pinup that he has of her is not sexual. It's because it was a recruitment poster that says the Ad Aspera, what's it?
Yeah.
Like, that's, oh my God. Like, I got tearied.
Yeah, me too.
I got teary-eyed.
Me too.
And by the way, I love that back when they were in Lower Decks universe, Ransom was like, all right, Una Chin Riley, the hottest first officer in Starfleet. Because, they're married in real life.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jerry That's O'Connell funny. And Rebecca Romaine are married.
Oh, weird. Didn't know that. Cool.
Yep.
Man, yeah, what an episode. Really, like you said, no notes, just great. And I don't even know, like, I really need to watch it a few more times, and I'm sure I'll have more things to say about it as the time moves on, because it's just so good.
And it wasn't just fluff or just emotional beats, because, like, it also had, like, a really nice message where, Boimler gets to paradoxically, on purpose, change time by being like, hey, guys, in our time, it's really not cool to, like, just assume all Orions are pirates.
Yeah.
And because of all of that, Pike winds up, like, turning a coin for this guy, like, for this Orion guy who's like, really? There, at some point, we don't have to be pirates? That's
all I've ever wanted. The Orion stuff in this episode is so good. I kind of wish Tendi could have been there.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
No, like, even just for a second at the end, like, if she'd gotten to come through the portal and meet her ancestor and, like, sort of them see her in a Starfleet uniform, would have been really cool. Or even just see her in cartoon form through the portal in a uniform.
I think that would have been too heavy-handed. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It would have changed it too much. Like, this, she would have been, like, standing up for herself, like she did at the beginning of the episode in animated form. But, like, I wouldn't want her interacting with the people from Strange New Worlds, because I think it was important to have Mariner and Boimler, standing up for those people, being proper allies.
Yeah.
You know what
absolutely,
I mean?
Absolutely. I think I love the way they did it. I just it just would have been nice to see Tendi see it, I guess, or hear about, or maybe we'll see or hear about it on Lower Decks. But I just thought that the whole Orion, like, through line of this episode is really wonderful. Another great moment in the episode is the ending, where they drink some of the Orion ale or whatever and end up in cartoon form on Strange New World, like just the Strange New Worlds cast in cartoon form at the end.
I love the implication, because when they had it earlier, it wasn't with the proper ingredients, and now they have the proper ingredients. I love the idea that, like, everyone in Lower Decks, or at least our main characters, just have had so much of this shit that, like, they see themselves as cartoons.
Yeah, that's very silly. I don't think that's how I take it, but, like, that is a really funny implication.
Well, that is, like, once they were drinking it, they were like, I feel like my eyes are really big, everything seems really two-dimensional, and Spock's like, my arm should not be doing this. I think it's a fun closer. I don't know that I consider it canon, but it's I think it's really funny.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. It's really, really funny.
Yeah. You got anything else for this episode, or do you
No, I don't
want to move on to feedback?
Yeah, let's get to feedback.
Alrighty. Mark McElwin, I think that's how you say the name, sent us an email titled La'an's Gun. It said, "Hey guys, first time feedbacker here. Welcome.
Welcome,
Mark.
Welcome to the fold, Mark."
Been listening for what feels like at least a year. It's been 2 weeks, Mark. Says, love the show, but I'm always driving when I listen, so I can't give feedback when I think of it, and later I just forget. This time I had my wife remind me. Anyway, you were talking about La'an leaving your gun with Khan in terms of it being a loose end or something to be addressed later, but I wonder if it's more self-contained. La'an chose not only to spare Space Hitler's life, but she realizes that his legacy is her legacy. So she actually tries to help him by leaving her gun with him. I guess I saw it more as just saying something about her as a character, accepting that for better or worse, that's her history and she wants to preserve it. I love that.
Oof. I like it, and I think that's an interesting way to take it. There's a difference in accepting part of history as what it is or whatever, and accepting that part of yourself, and actively helping a genocide or whatever. I don't know. There's just there's a thing there.
Well, she wouldn't be actively helping a genocide necessarily. It's just helping him survive what's about to happen.
Right. Yeah. I took it more as an accident, but that is interesting and may lead to more.
Yeah, it could be both. I dig it.
Yeah, I did dig the idea, Mark.
Yeah, I love that. He says, anyway, I imagine I'll be proven wrong somehow by the time you read this. Nope, not yet. Also, I wish I could disagree with you about Strange New Worlds Kirk versus 2009 Trek Kirk, but you're right. Chris Pine channels Kirk in the same way that Anson Mount does Pike. But this raises a question. Do you think there's any character who cannot be recast in all of Star Trek? I often wonder about an Enterprise sequel, but from what I hear, they'd have to recast T'Pol, and that's tough to imagine. But then the weakness of one's own imagination is never much of an argument for anything. I think if there was one person in all of Star Trek you couldn't recast, it would have been Spock, and they've done it twice now. So, No, I don't.
Personally, I think Badgie. I think Badgie should never be recast. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Just no. I don't think it's. I don't think there's anybody you can't recast. But to Paul's, why do I guess I don't know the context of this, but why will Jolene Blaylock not come back?
I don't know. You know what? I've never read it up on it because I don't really care about Jolene Blaylock. So I guess I've never really seen anything that I wanted to read from her, but maybe she doesn't want to come back. But by the way, speaking of the Enterprise, I loved how much love they gave Enterprise because it is a very overlooked show. Mm-hmm. And I love that they realized, oh shit, we're talking about everyone on the NX-01 the way these people are talking about us.
Yeah. Yep. It's really,
and it
really cool.
It felt so good to hear them say, Travis Mayweather and talk about Hoshi Sato. And I love that there's a piece of the NX-01 on the ship and they use that to get home. Oh, I just loved all of that. And I actually really like Enterprise a lot.
Yeah, me too. And it's really great too because it ties together this sort of fan theme that we've seen on Lower Decks where they're fans of the original crew or the original and the Next Generation and hearing Strange New Worlds talk about that ship with such reverence, it's oh no, that works. It's not weird that they're fans of it. Maybe sometimes it's weird the way they go with it on Lower Decks, but it was neat to see them bring that fandom in to this. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. By the way, I don't dislike Jolene Blaylock as an actor. I thought she did a fine job on Enterprise. When the few times early on when the show first came out, I listened to interviews with her, and she was really irreverent and really weird, and talked a lot about dick, like getting dick, and how a guy's got to have a giant dick, and she did interviews drunk, and she was weird stuff, so I just stopped reading anything she said.
All right.
It was weird. I don't know. I didn't know she had a problem with Enterprise and wouldn't want to come back, though.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll look into that now because you've piqued my interest, Mark.
Yeah.
Damn it.
My interest is piqued. I have no idea.
We got Andre Sparks over here saying crossover episode equals amazing. I agree, Andre. Andre says, hey guys, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm stoked. A live-action episode of Lower Decks needs to happen. Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid did a great job and acted how you would expect their live-action characters to be. The Boimler run, the screaming in the dark, the talking fast, the hijinks. It was great. Frakes is a genius. The number one poster thing was great because we all know she was a poster on all the guys' walls in the 90s, so her character thinking that it was that kind of poster was fun.
Yeah, it's
plus,
really great.
I didn't think about that connection. That's funny.
Yeah,
totally. I was just thinking because they were married. Plus, since the Star Trek Future lady didn't come talk to them, maybe this was supposed to happen. Or maybe we will see repercussions on Lower Decks. One question, though, do we know why half the crew doesn't stay to work with Kirk? Since this war is coming and he called one of them a war hero, I just got you don't make it vibes. Don't make it vibes. Gotcha. Live long and prosper, Mr. Boimler. Guys, this was the best episode. It was a damn good episode. It was...
Yeah, man, this season...
across the board.
I've been saying that, like, you know, I said it when it happened, but the episode where they go back in time was so good. The Khan episode was so good and, like, in a totally different way. And it's one of my favorite kind of Star Trek episodes, you know? And this is another one of my favorite kind of Star Trek episodes, but a completely different kind, you know?
It feels like Trials and Tribulations in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I see that for sure.
By the way, the thing about why do we know why half the crew doesn't stay to work with Kirk? Well, in situations like this, you know, this is their ship, this is their crew, and at a certain point, they're gonna get promoted and move on to other postings. Sort of like how Chekhov left after the original series and went to another ship.
Yeah.
Or after the motion picture anyway, went to another ship, found his way back through happenstance and terrible circumstances. But, yeah, and then Sulu went on to become captain. You know, they all just sort of, you know, rank up and move on.
Yeah, it's just how that works.
Yeah, and we know Mbenga left and then came back and for the original series a little bit.
I mean, it's just one of those things where like a class of people are there for a time, and then, like you said, they all have their own aspirations and things they want to do. We see all these characters having desires for greater things and things they want to do, and things they want to learn and grow, and like you said, rank up. And so,
yeah,
we'll just see that happen.
Mm-hmm. And finally, of course, we've got an email from Stuart Little.
Stu.
Mr. Stu. But flipping is the best part in his title. Hey! Does the Lower Decks animation seem a bit more fluid than we've seen before? Maybe they could put more detail in because it was for a shorter segment. I didn't notice.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Actually, I didn't. Love the animated version of the intro, including the koala.
Yes.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, we didn't at all. The koala was wonderful. It was cool.
And the thing sucking on the Enterprise's nacelle.
Yeah.
Like it does on Cerritos. Yeah. I loved all of that.
Maybe those are beings you can only see if you've had some of that Orion drink.
Yeah. Kind of weird Boimler doesn't really react to meeting a Noonien Singh. Well, Boimler's a fan, so Boimler knew that she was part of the crew.
Yeah, I wondered about that too, though. Maybe. Like, he seems to be fans of all the crews, but it is weird that he didn't like, yeah. He seemed to get to know her in a way that, I don't know, that he didn't react as a fan to her or as a, as like a shocked that she's a Noonien Singh. So it was a little strange.
At the very least, I don't think he would be shocked that she was a Noonien Singh, is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, maybe.
He would be like, oh, yeah, lineage, whatever. That's not, Stu goes on. Boimler built ships and bottles. Picard would have gotten along with him. Yeah, possibly. Now, that's going to be a hard one to recast when it comes time, is Picard.
Yeah, for sure.
Patrick Stewart is universally beloved.
Yeah.
Good choice not to give the Orions in this episode the distracting facial prosthetics the Discovery Season 3's Orions had. I don't even remember those.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. Of course, that's like the Season 3, that's like when they're in the distant future. So I'm guessing that's like 1,000 years in the future. So that they wouldn't have that here anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And to be fair, one of the best parts of all the other Star Trek series is how much they're just undoing weird shit Discovery did for a little bit. But
I don't know about that. I mean, like they've definitely been trying to undo a lot of what Discovery did here, I think, on Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
At least that first season. But Discovery is also doing that too. It's starting in Season 2. They've been like, all right, we're sorry we got so weird with this time period. We're going to start like bringing it back to Kirk's era.
Yeah. That was a weird offshoot Klingon species. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now we need to see more jetpacks in Star Trek being used in atmosphere. I don't mind either way, honestly.
Do you have jetpacks? We have jetpacks.
Yeah, but smaller ones. Our regular characters all stationed on the flagship. Is it so weird to them that they might be historically significant figures in Starfleet? I mean, when you consider that you don't know if the Gorn are going to attack and Starfleet won't even exist next week.
Well, and this thing, I think Pike wouldn't be surprised if you told him he's a historical figure in Starfleet, but Uhura is just an ensign at this point. Like, last season, she wasn't even sure she was staying in Starfleet. So, like, yeah. She's just now decided to stay, and like, yeah, it just seems like she goes on to be like bridge crew for like one of the most storied crews of Starfleet, but like she's not that yet. Right now, she's just like a translator.
Just once, I want to see Star Trek do the 5 to beam up, only for the wrong 5 to get beamed because the person wasn't specific enough. I assume Star Trek Lower Decks will do that soon. They should have Pelia show up in Lower Decks and make the plot about Boimler obsessively trying to make her remember they've met. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really great.
That would be fun.
I think, her showing up in the future would be really, really great. But how have I not thought about that? She's a character that lives so long, like she could absolutely show up, just like Guinan has, throughout any point in the timeline. That's super fun.
Yep. And now they have to do a Halloween episode in Star Trek. I'm down.
Why do they have to do that now?
I don't know, but I'm down.
Yeah. I just didn't understand the reference.
Was there did they mention Halloween?
I don't recall.
It seems familiar.
Like I said, it's been 5 or 6 days since I saw it.
Whatever, I'm down. He says, at what age does a quarter-life crisis happen in Star Trek typically? Because you can live to over 100 there. Yeah, but then you gotta factor in, Stu, how many people are wearing red shirts? How many of them are getting sucked out of airlocks?
Yeah.
How many of them are, getting sucked out of holes in the hull?
Not everybody's McCoy out there.
Yeah.
A lot of them are dying early.
Yeah.
The average age is a whole different thing.
You might have your O'Briens dying at 114 or surrounded by family and friends. But you might have these 19-year-olds getting sucked out of a freaking torpedo blasted hull.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no what's his face to save him? What's that guy's name from Guardians? The Golden Boy.
Oh, what is Adam Warlock.
Oh, Adam Warlock. There, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I couldn't remember. Will Poulter. That's what I was thinking, though. I was trying to get to hit that name. Kind of expected Noel Wells to cameo as Tendy's ancestor. Dude, I wondered.
Yeah. I don't understand why they didn't bring her into. She could totally play Tendy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually Rutherford too.
Yeah. Yeah, you've said that before.
He looks like Rutherford.
I don't know everybody's I'm like literally like actively looking them up cuz I don't know everybody's what they look like in real life.
Yeah, Noel Wells and the guy who plays Rutherford, they look like their characters.
That's cool. Hopefully we will get more of this. Like it would work show.
It would work for Dawn Wells for the captain of the Cerritos. Shax is the only one I can think of offhand that just would not work.
Mm. Oh yeah, Rutherford could totally pull it off. I mean, I don't know if he acts like that, but yeah, it could totally pull off the look.
Stu says, glad they did the animated epilogue scene with our regulars. Notice they were talking faster and louder too as a result. It's that Orion shit, man.
Yep, gotta watch
really
out.
Fun episode. Maybe we could do this again, but in reverse with a Strange New World character jumping to the future in Lower Decks. I'm down. I want to see all of it. They could do anything in Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Because they could just be like, pull up holodeck bullety bloop, and we're going to see Pike come in there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They could definitely do that. But they can also put, I'd like to see more of live action Boimler and Mariner, and I'd like to see Tendy and Rutherford as well. Like, I really think they should do like a full live action episode, but that'd be so expensive. I understand why they probably can't, but like, man, it would be cool.
By the way, and this is like one of my favorite things that I had to rewind a couple of times. When they're talking to Pike about, like, wait, does he know? And she, like, freaking Mariner does her hands, like, in the box around her body and then goes, like this, like, with her hand over her face, like, where the scar would be on Pike. Oh,
man. It's terrible. It's so terrible.
And it was real subtle, but she definitely did it. She's like it was so funny. It was so funny.
Yep, that's pretty great.
And they're just cutting back to Pike going, yeah, I know. Oh, God. Yeah, I can't wait to watch it again. Like, I might just stop doing this show and go and watch it.
Yeah, go watch it. Me too. I just might do that as well, because I really, I loved it. Cool, man. Well, anything else about this episode before we get off of here?
I'm sure I've got like 100 things about this episode that I could bring up, but at this point, I think I'm gonna call it. I think I'm good here.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, cool. Well, we got another episode coming out tonight, so we'll try to get this episode up and posted, and then maybe we'll have more to say tomorrow about this stuff, because there's a lot of Star Trek dropping this week. Well, guys, Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back soon. Jolan True.
Live long and prosper, y'all.
Commence the jiggling.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prospector. Right?
Aw, peaches.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.